Good evening, fans, and welcome to the pregame show on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Tonight's contest here at Olympian Field has the Olympians taking on the visiting Panthers of Peninsula. I'm Rufus Washington, joined by Deborah Savage here, along with Scott Goodman, who's down on the field. Let's talk for a moment, though, about tonight's contest. This is a huge Bay League game between two teams who are fighting for a share of the division title as well as playoff position. Both teams come in at 3-3, Leuzinger with one tie on their side. Both teams, and this was featured in today's Daily Breeze, feature a running attack, and we're going to see a lot of ground play. Not many passes, but boy, if you like the rushing game, Deborah, that's what you're going to see tonight.
That's true. This is definitely the power matchup of the season.
Among other things that they told us to key on is the defense. First of all, it's going to be a challenge for both defenses because of the running game. Victor McClendon, I think Deborah's told me, will play tonight. Of course, Peninsula's big back forward will also be in the game. So both teams expect to pound the ball between the 20s. If it gets to be a close contest, they're saying that perhaps Peninsula has an edge in the kicking game. Of course, Peninsula will be motivated by the fact that Leuzinger went up on the hill and beat them by a score of 22-3 last year. So there has to be an element of revenge on Peninsula's mind, Deborah.
That's true, and Leuzinger comes in this with a slight edge. Their average rushing yards is 500, where Palos Verdes' average rushing yard is 250. And in offense, passing and receiving, the Panthers have the slight edge there. Now on defense, Leuzinger has to lead with about 3 to 4 sacks per game.
Good. Well, and the one thing about these two teams, you can virtually throw the records out the window. Although we knew it's going to be a good game, Mike Witt said as much, said it doesn't matter about the records. These two teams come to play. Fans, we've got Scott Goodman down on the field. Scott's got some additional stats and information for us that'll help you appreciate tonight's contest between the Leuzinger Olympians and the Peninsula Panthers. Scott.
Hello, everyone. We are live here at Olympian Field, where today we have a crucial Bay League matchup between the 3-3 Peninsula Panthers and the 3-2-1 Leuzinger Olympians. This should be a very, very bruising affair where both teams have bruising ground attacks, and it should not be too much aerial action in the game today. Good news for the Leuzinger Olympians, who today have Victor McClendon. He will be in action after missing last week's game with a sprained ankle. Both teams need a win to stay in contention to make the Bay League playoffs and clinch a second-place victory. It should be a very interesting game. Coming into the season, the Panthers were ranked #1 in the Daily Breeze poll, but have halted a little, had an up-and-down season, but are looking for a big win to get this season rolling. It should be a very, very good game. Look for Victor McClendon to have a big game with his running attack, running the double wing T offense, and the Panthers run the option. Look out, it should be a great game tonight. I'm going to send it up to Rufus, and have a good day, everyone. I will see you at halftime.
Scott, thanks a whole lot. We're preparing to enjoy the national anthem. That was the pregame show, and if that wasn't enough, tonight is also Homecoming 2001. So we'll have the pomp and circumstance of Homecoming. Fans, we hope you enjoyed it. We've got a great game. Stay right where you are on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. We'll have kickoff in just a few minutes. Good evening, fans, and welcome to tonight's contest on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. We're here at Olympian Field, a newly revamped, beautiful Olympian Field, as they tonight host one of their fiercest Bay League rivals, the Peninsula Panthers. Fans, I'm Rufus Washington, joined, as always, by Dave Marks. And we're just about ready for the opening kickoff. In fact, we have a kickoff. Leuzinger will be receiving. They take it at about their 5-yard line. That's number 8, breaks a couple of tackles, got some running room. Coming here around the left side And finally driven out of bounds, but not until after it crosses into Peninsula territory. Outstanding return for Stephen Singleton, fans. So Leuzinger is going to open this contest, Dave, in excellent field position as they will start in Peninsula territory at the Peninsula 47, 1st and 10.
And for a team that is going to run, let's take a look at the starting offense. On the line, Finese Lolede, he'll be the left tackle. Joseph Guerin is a left guard. Miguel Peralta, the senior, is the center. Tony Morgan, Hiva Hakofa, and Ma Ikahifu will be the starting tight end.
Here's a pitch back, first play of the game. No surprise there as Leuzinger keeps it on the ground. Looks like they've got a first down on the play. That was Paul Sakona. Of course, anybody who follows this Leuzinger football program, Dave, knows that they've got a full house backfield of runners, and they could give it to any one of 4 guys on every play.
It's run, and there you saw the senior Paul Sakona, tailback. Stephen Singleton to return the kick. Victor McClendon is the wingback, and the starting quarterback is Eddie Hernandez as they play the wing T, form tight wing T.
Here's a pitch back, coming around left side. Initial hit causes number 4, Victor McClendon, to stumble. There was some question as to whether or not McClendon would be in tonight's contest, but our crack sideline reporter, Deborah Savage, got the early scoop and let the fans know in the pregame show that McClendon was playing, and indeed, there he was on the carry.
And for a team that does run the ball down your throats, they need, of course, all of their weapons here in a ball game with 2 teams that are 2-2 in league play, vying for what will amount to possibly 2nd place in the Bay League.
This time you put a man in motion. Again, that's McClendon, number 4. Looks like he's got enough for the first down. Leuzinger now down at the Peninsula 25-yard line.
And the Peninsula Panthers, of course, still a tough team, but not quite as highly touted as they've been in past seasons when they finished first in the Bay League and got as far as the league championship in Division II a couple of years ago. They're coached by second-year coach Tony Urubu. He was 9-3 last year, 5-2 in league play. They lost 5 key starters, but they return a fairly tough defense.
Again, they keep it on the ground. If you think you've been tired of hearing us say that before in broadcast, usually our contest features one. Well, we know Leuzinger's running. Most other teams feature the pass. Rarely do we have 2 teams that are on the ground. As reported in the Daily Breeze today, the kind of game that a Vince Lombardi or George Hallis would love.
Oh, yes.
This is Big Ten football at its best.
The smash mouth, just straight up the middle.
Ball just outside the 20 where it's a 2nd down and about 7. The flag on the play to keep it on the ground, but that flag came from one of the back judges. And the indication that it's holding, and it's going to go against the Olympians.
And that's a rarity right there, Rufus, because for a team, we mentioned this many times when we cover Leuzinger football, for a team that runs as much as they do, 98% of their offense is keeping it on the ground, they very rarely make those kind of mistakes. However, a key mistake setting a drive back about 10 yards here in the first quarter. And those are the sort of things that they've been able to stay away from for the most part during the season, but not able to do it on the opening drive tonight, and we'll see if that'll be a key here on this opening drive.
And if you're just joining us, fans, you're right just about on time. It's early first quarter action. We've got 9:30 left. Leuzinger took the opening kickoff, returned it into Peninsula territory. This is still the opening drive of the play. Here's a pitch back to Singleton. Singleton goes around the right side, breaks a couple tackles, gets back to what was the original line of scrimmage, I believe, before the penalty, or certainly near it, and it'll make it a 3rd and long nonetheless.
Look like Justin Santa Rosa in there on the tackle for Peninsula, one of the people to get over there and meet him. And it's just amazing, for as much as they do it, they're going to slip through, and at some point they're going to break off the big one, and they keep your defense on the field.
Well, 3rd and 10. Other team knows you're going to run. Let's see if they can do anything to stop it. Well, there's a pitch back, and a short gain on the play. It's going to force a 4th and long. You're going to spot it at about the 20-yard line, so that's going to make it a 4th and 5, Dave. What's Leuzinger's 4th and 5 play?
Well, I don't think there is officially a place kicker on the roster, but I doubt very seriously that you will see them go for a field goal. So at this point in the field, 5 yards to make, they figure the run could do it, and they will probably try to just take it right up the middle for the first down.
So they do elect to go for it. Here's a pitch back to the left side. Powell gets pushed, but doesn't look like it's going to be enough for the first down. Leuzinger is going to turn it over on downs. They needed 5. They got about 3. So it's going to be Peninsula's ball now. Still first quarter action. We're at 8:05, as you can see on the screen there.
That drive taking up almost 4 minutes. And again, the penalty hurting them there. Something they rarely do is commit the clips and the holes for as much as they run the ball. But this time they do it at an inopportune time. And it'll give the Peninsula Panthers their first offensive look of the night.
Well, as we watch the Panthers, of course, we can tell you that Kyle Degner is the quarterback. Here, they're going to keep it on the ground there, and they give it off to number 21. That's Jordan Mundy. Mundy, a 6'1", 175-pound sophomore.
And he, of course, one of the key returners. And then, of course, you have the other fella who will be carrying the ball quite a bit tonight. First name of Jeff.
Jeff Leuzinger. This time out of the I formation. They hand it off, looks like to the first back through. Of course, this offense does feature more option than we typically see Leuzinger run. I mean, they run more of the Oklahoma-style option play. Quarterback rolls out, and you look on the pitch.
That was Jeff Leuzinger's first carry. They're going to be keen on him because Leuzinger is playing a 6'2" defense, which means they're going to have 8 people in the box. As you take a look at Coach Witt, and that's what he's diagrammed tonight.
This time, Leuzinger was the lead blocker. Leuzinger, in your program fans, is number 45. Again, on the carry, that was Monday.
So Monday not able to get it to Tuesday, and they're going to be a little short. This will bring up, I believe, a 3 and out. They're a little slow with that down marker on the far side of the field.
Timeout on the field.
As we have a timeout, timeout taken here.
So
they're going to get things straight.
While we've got a timeout, it gives us a chance to remind you fans that this broadcast brought to you by Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 in conjunction with the folks at Hawthorne Cable, as well as our friends and good supporters at Time Warner Cable. The other thing about tonight's contest, Dave, is not only is it a rivalry game between Leuzinger and Peninsula, which stands on its own, but it's also Homecoming 2001. For our second consecutive broadcast, we're attending a homecoming game. So there's also a lot of pageantry in the air, a lot of pomp and circumstance, and some young lady tonight is going to be crowned Miss Sports Royalty. So a lot of things for the fans to be excited about tonight.
Unfortunately, no fire trucks this year because of the fact that it's a new field. Now, over on the far side of the field, they've got the down marker saying first down, and I believe it is 4th down, so we're going to send them to math class because it's going to be a point. It is 4th down.
Well, it's a high snap. They're back to punt. Excellent punt away, and that's Degner, the quarterback. That's taking that to 30-yard line. And very short return on the play by Leuzinger. That was Gerard Armstrong, number 11, with the short return. It will be Leuzinger. 1st and 10. They're going to spot it at the 34-yard line of the Olympians.
So good first defensive stand by the Leuzinger Olympians, 3 and out. And there's just a little confusion on the far side of the field. The down markers are being kept on the Peninsula side of the field. And these days, you don't have to turn them over like during the days when Rufus went to high school. All you got to do is dial them down, and they apparently don't know how to do it. We're in the digital age.
Here's the motion. There's the pitch back, and that was McClendon with the carry. McClendon picks up, looks like about 5.
Well, the last couple of weeks of these Leuzinger Olympians, they lost their only 2 home league games. They lost to Miracosta in a game we did a couple of weeks ago. They lost to Beverly Hills 2 weeks ago, very disappointingly, 14-6. but they won on the road at Culver City last week in a ball game that they needed.
I ain't trying to beat the TV down, you know, I might just spill it in the TV on accident.
Again, McClendon coming around to the left side. McClendon breaks a couple of tackles, gets out near a first down. I think it's probably going to be about a yard short.
As they continue to keep it on the ground, and they just grind it out effectively here tonight, trying to wear down that Peninsula defense.
Still first quarter action, fans. We've got 5:25 left in the first here at Olympian Field. Scoreless contest, Leuzinger with their second possession of the game. Panthers on defense.
Well, they had a little Christmas lights on the screen there, it looked like. The early Christmas decor, or was it Halloween decoration?
Number 2 goes in motion, picks up the first down. That's Singleton. So Leuzinger keeps the drive alive with the first down as they get it out across midfield. They're going to spot it at about the 49-yard line of Peninsula. So the Olympians' second time tonight in Peninsula territory.
And it's the 3 seniors, Paul Sakona, Steve Singleton, Victor McClendon, doing all the carrying. And they get it right across the midfield stripe.
This time the pitch is back to Sakona. He cuts it back up. He's going to be stopped for no gain on the play.
And, of course, the Peninsula defense has to key on that. They've got to keep men up in the box. Just basically dare the losing Olympians to try to pass the ball. So we've got 2 teams that are basically carbon copies of each other in terms of wanting to keep it on the ground. They keep a lot of people up in the box. They play that 6-2 and just take it straight at you. Losing are a little more fleet of foot. Peninsula a little bulkier and bigger, harder to bring down.
As Coach Witt said this week, wins are crucial for everybody. Here's a pitch back with a handoff inside. Short gain on the play. There's a pitch to Armstrong, and Armstrong with the inside handoff.
And there's a host of tacklers.
We'll see it here
Peninsula.
on the replay. Dave, why don't you give us a recap?
I could if I would. But I guess that'll be coming up a little. All right, there. Well, we get the end of it anyway. We're all here on Gilligan's Isle as they unwrap with his 3rd down and 6.
Hernandez still at quarterback for the Olympians. Hernandez drops back to pass, brings his arm back. That ball's loose. Let's see what the ruling on the field is. Was his arm going forward or was it a fumble? No indication yet from the officials. Now we see the indication from the referee, which means that it was a fumble on the play by the quarterback. Hernandez, Peninsula recovered, and they'll take over right at midfield. First and 10 for them. So Peninsula gets the first break of the game at 3:21. We're going to go back to the replay here and watch this. Well, that was the play before. We're going to try to cue up, perhaps after this play, that turnover by the Olympians. Out of an eye, Degener hands it off to Leuzinger. Leuzinger stacked up right at the line of scrimmage, Dave. Absolutely no gain on the play as the Leuzinger defense smelt that one out all the way.
Well, of course, they've got number 45 tattooed in their minds, knowing that they've got to stop him, and that's who they're going to key on. If Peninsula is smart and changes things up offensively and they go to another back, you know, they just switch things up a little bit, they might be effective. You've seen Mundy carry the ball twice, and you wonder if he'll get it again out of the I formation.
So second and long for the Panthers. This time they hand it off to the second back through, and his luck isn't any better than the first back through.
So the defense of the Leuzinger Olympians very hungry indeed in the early part of this ball game. Their offense not able to get on track thus far. And they are hoping that the defense can hold as they have 6 people on the line. Brandon Ford on the end, Stephen Singleton on the end. Defensive tackles, Hira Hakofa, Ma Ikahifu. Defensive tackle, Joseph Guerin, defensive guard, and Finise Lolela, defensive guard.
Indeed, it's 3rd down. Degener drops back to pass. Degener's pass over the middle is complete. It's going to be out near a first down. And as you noted earlier, Dave, and I now note that it is a supreme aggravation that what we've got is the down markers not being moved. and I'll guarantee you, it looks like they're ruling that it was incomplete, and thank you for that. Still a down marker doesn't indicate that it's 4th down. And before the night's over, I guarantee you we're going to have a controversy. Leuzinger back to punt as it's a 4th and long. This is Armstrong. Preparing to return. He fumbles it. That ball's loose. And it looks like, what's the indication? The indication is that Leuzinger did recover. Nearly a huge mistake there for the Olympians as Gerard Armstrong bobbled it, quite frankly lost it, but the Olympians were able to recover.
And that would have been a huge blunder. It would have given them the ball right on about the 5-yard line, but as it is, they're going to have to go 95 yards. Take a look at the punt again, and you wonder why he didn't call for a fair catch here. Look like he's giving a signal, but you've got to, if you're going to fair catch it, you got to, of course, catch it or let it bounce.
Again, on the play, a pitch by the Olympians around the right side. Doesn't yield a lot for them on that play. It's going to make it a 2nd down and long.
As this quarter is rapidly ticking away.
Clock running here in the 1st quarter as we're under a minute and a half. Of course, one of the things when you feature the running game, clock rarely has an opportunity to stop except on 1st downs. Leuzinger guards pull left. And that's McClendon with the carry. So here in the early going tonight, Dave, Victor McClendon, whom it was doubtful that he would play tonight because of a knee injury, is getting a good deal of the work.
Yes, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's carried effectively, got about 7 yards on that carry, going to make it about a 3rd down, 3.5, 4 to go, and keep your eyes on the down marker on the far side. It looked like they changed to the old-fashioned flip them over down marker, so there'll be no mistake.
Through 7 games, McClendon has 560 yards, along with 7 TDs. This time with the carry, that's Singleton.
Looks like he's going to be a little short. Going to bring up about a 4th down and 1 to go in an obvious punt situation. And so probably let the clock run off at the end of the quarter before they do punt.
As the clock rolls down under 10 seconds, I don't think they're going to get this play away, and quite frankly, there's no necessity to get it away. So the 1st quarter will expire, Dave, here at Olympian Field. Scoreless contest between the Leuzinger Olympians and the Panthers. Both teams kind of like a heavyweight fight, trading jabs. Nobody yet able to come up with a good solid blow to get the other team back on their heels.
Well, the good thing you could say is the quarter did go quickly. It kind of didn't drag on and on. The Olympians, of course, a couple of key mistakes. Penalty on the 1st drive when they had that momentum, a rare clip, getting them, pushing them back. Of course, they lost the ball on the sack and the fumble on their one and only pass attempt tonight. So their offense is yet to fully get on track, but of course defensively, they are simply shutting Peninsula down. Not much yardage at all for the Peninsula Panthers, and that's something they have to do when you got a back as potent as Jeff Leuzinger, who ran for 112 yards last week. So as we will start the 2nd quarter here, it'll be a punt for the Leuzinger Olympians, and doing the punting will be Daniel Navas.
Back to receive for Peninsula is number 24, Kyle Shelton, and number 29, Jarrett Monday.
And they may get very good field position right here, which is the key.
Well, they're lining up at their own 45-yard line. Of course, we know that to date the kicking game has not been one of the Olympians' strong suits, but if they can hold Peninsula to this kind of field position or better, they would be doing themselves a world of good.
And what the controversy is on the field, I don't know. Coach Witt talking to one of the officials. Of course, in that 1st quarter, we had the down marker controversy. Now I think it probably has something to do with where they're placing it. It is 4th down.
And one of the things that we note is that in fact, they've changed from the dial-a-down tool to
the
a
old-fashioned
more
flip 'em
utilitarian down marker you see over on the far side there. Somebody must have expected that the other one wasn't going to work to have had the backup one there. So we're now ready. Here's the punt. It's a low kick. It's going to be fielded at the 45-yard line. Fair catch called for. That was Monday with the fair catch. Not quite sure I understand his rationale there. He had some field in front of him, but quite frankly, the fair catch gives Leuzinger a break.
Yes, it does. Jared and Jordan Monday, the two brothers. One of the Monday brothers taking the catch here. And Rufus, we tell you whenever we do these games here at Leuzinger, we're in the elements. We are being invaded by the pizza heads here tonight.
Indeed we are. Now, 1st and 10 for the Panthers at their own 45-yard line. There's a fake handoff, drop back to pass. He's got a receiver wide open, and it's dropped.
That's Mike Orlandini, and he was so wide open, Rufus, he could have stopped and had his picture taken. I mean, he was just too wide open. The minute that ball left the quarterback's hands, you're probably saying touchdown. I mean, all he's got to do is stop, catch it, and he's gone. I mean, well executed. Of course, you expect them to run. It's good play action, fools everybody. And safety Gerald Armstrong was responsible for being back there. You got your quarterbacks William Martin and Lumi Murray. And he was just so wide open, but not able to hold it in.
So Penninsula shows a willingness to pass the ball. This time they keep it on the ground. Exploding through the line is number 8 for them. That's Joe Ford. We mentioned today that Joe Ford is the leading rusher, in fact, for Penninsula today, coming into the game with 289 yards and 3 touchdowns on just 64 carries. He, of course, didn't play last week due to a coach's decision, but Ford in there tonight. Here you see on the replay, there's the handoff to Ford with all the guys in the box, as you so duly noted earlier, Dave. If you break the line of scrimmage against either one of these teams, there's a lot of real estate in front of you, and that's exactly what happened as Ford picks up the first down.
Remind me of OJ there, the way he was swinging those hips on that run.
And once again, on a dive, they keep it on the ground. They pick up about 7 on the play. Starting to push this Leuzinger defense around a little bit now as they take it down inside the 35-yard line of Leuzinger. We're in second quarter action at the 11:20 mark, still scoreless, but the Panthers are on the prowl.
And they're giving Leuzinger a little something more to think about. They're not being as predictable. They're kind of mixing things up, which makes you wonder what will they go with here on 2nd and 4.
This time they come with a full house backfield. They give it off to, from our vantage point, it looks like that was Leuzinger. First down by whomever the running back was. I see the 4. I'm looking for the 5.
Was Leuzinger indeed.
Okay. So, Panthers now at the Olympian 25-yard line. And once again, wishbone backfield. Prime set for the option, and they keep it on the ground. That's Leuzinger with the carry.
That time he just straight off that left side, some good power running, beginning to wear down the Olympian defense, as you mentioned. So they're playing that 6-2 with 8 people up there in the box.
So it's a second down play now for Penninsula. Looks like about a second and a long 4, let's call it, fans. Once again, on the ground. So they're going Leuzinger left, Leuzinger right, Leuzinger up the middle. Looks like they've finally found their rhythm, and the indication is that it is a first down.
And Paul Sakona making the stop from the linebacker, inside linebacker position. So they've got it 1st and 10 right at about that 15-yard line on an impressive drive here in the second quarter.
So from the 15, Dejner, the quarterback, brings them up. Right now they're standing the wish, and again, they're giving it to number 45, but what they did that time is that the Leuzinger defense, and it was almost a message hit. They put an extra hit there on Dejener, even though he had released the football.
Well, they brought safety Gerard Armstrong, the sophomore, up from the safety position in on the blitz that time, and he was able to pick up Leuzinger in the backfield. He loses about a yard, and the right call there that time by the Leuzinger coaching staff.
So it's a third down play on the ground. Up the middle is number 8. Number 8, of course, is Joe Ford that we talked about earlier. Joe Ford's 150 pound, listed as 150. It's got to be all muscle because the guy is thick, junior.
And he one of the impressive weapons. A little shorter, as you mentioned, than the other backs, but he their leading ball carrier. So when you've got to worry about him and Leuzinger, and of course Jordan Mundy, three backs to occupy your thoughts.
So to correct the down and distance, it's a third down and 8 as the ball is at the Leuzinger 12-yard line. Leuzinger defense needing a big stop here. As they keep it on the ground, looks like the Olympians come up with the stop that they need. Makes it a 4th down. Now,
that was Grant Pagarian on the carry, and again, Paul Sakona, who's been in on a lot of plays, tackling him around the ankles. So here's a 4th down, and Kyle Deniger, who is their quarterback and place kicker, is going to be attempting a field goal of what looks to be 30 yards from where they're spotting it.
Will be a 30-yard field goal. This was the edge that they spoke about, that if there was one, this is where Peninsula had it. The kick is up, and it's no good. Wide right. So, Leuzinger holds on defense, forces a missed field goal, and they escape. Although they got pushed around pretty good that time with 7:35 to go in the first half. Leuzinger now goes on offense, 1st and 10.
And what seemed to turn that drive around was Gerard Armstrong on 1st down when he did the blitz coming up from the safety position and able to put the hit, sending a message to Leuzinger. As Rufus noted, he hit him kind of hard there, Jeff Leuzinger, and that kind of set the trend for the rest of that drive. So we will see what the Leuzinger offense will be able to do as they get it 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line.
Pitch to McClendon. McClendon still on his feet. Victor McClendon gets it out to the 35-yard line, and that's a 1st down for the Olympians.
Well, that run was so good, it'll almost make you eat your sandwich real quick. And if you're there sitting there enjoying a snack, watching the ball game, I mean, he just bursted through there.
And that gets them out from the shadows of their own goal post. Gives them a lot more operating room. It's a 1st down. Here's a pitch again to McClendon. McClendon picks up at least 6 or 7 on the play.
They're slipping and slithering through there, and of course Miguel Peralta, the center. You look at that line, they don't get called that much, but without that line, right guard Tony Morgan, right tackle Hiva Hafoka, left guard Joseph Guerin, who was an all-mention by the Daily Breeze before the year started, left tackle Finiase Lolela, and the right tight end Daniel Navas, the tight end Maha Hikaifu.
This time they send a man in motion, which is a decoy as it goes up the middle. They pick up the 1st down as now they're out near midfield. They're going to spot it officially at the, what's called the 48. It's almost the 49, where it'll be 1st and 10. Fast-moving first half, Dave. We've got less than 6.5. Scoreless contest, as we mentioned also, fans. This is homecoming 2001 for the Leuzinger Olympians.
And do we get the ceremony at halftime, or? I guess so.
On the pitch back. That pitch back was Sakona. Sakona gets it across midfield. Now in Peninsula territory at about the 49 of Peninsula. Let's call it a 2nd down and 8 for the Olympians.
Leuzinger Olympians with all of 2 coaches. Jamal Dismuke, the assistant head coach.
Here's a pitch to McClendon. McClendon is going to the left side. McClendon picks up good yardage on the play. It's going to be out near a first down. Once the pile unstacks and they place the football, we'll be able to see exactly how close it is. The indication from the side judges is that it's not enough for the first. It's going to be third and a very short, Dave.
Of course, as you take a look at head coach Witt, this very important game with about 4 or 5 teams at 2-2 in the Bay League with just 2 weeks to go following tonight. See, second play, Miracosta is going to take first place, so it's basically second, third, and fourth on the line.
Again, they keep it on the ground. I'm not sure that they got enough. They'll give them forward momentum, but the indication from the side judge is that it was not enough. Brings up a fourth down, and I just about bet the ranch Leuzinger is going to go for it on this play.
Oh, it's something that they might want to think about. First, they're going to measure, get an official's timeout. If you punt and you put them back, if you can put them back inside the 5-yard line, then you make Penninsula have to work up the rest of the field and you let your defense go to work. But, of course, if you could just take Hernandez and perhaps just have him dive over the pile.
That's what I was going to say. Given the vaunted Leuzinger rushing attack that's gained nearly 2,000 yards already, I don't think you're going to see these guys punt on 4th and 2 inches. That just isn't in their makeup.
That gang looks tough as they applaud, as I think they did get the first down mark. 4:33 to go.
Well, all that analysis was for naught. Apparently, as the Olympians did indeed pick up enough yardage for the first down. Clearly, it was very, very close, but the officials took a look at it. They put the chains beside it, and so we'll never know now. 1st and 10 for the Olympians. McClendon with the pitch back. McClendon around left side. He's going to get about 3.
And as it doesn't look like they are going to break off any big run as yet. However, if they keep at this pace with about 4 minutes to go until halftime, just chunks of yards and picking up first downs, they would hope to breach the end zone before the half and get the early lead. This ball game listed by the Daily Breeze as the 2nd most important game in the South Bay tonight.
Tell us, oh Dave, please, oh wise one, what was the first most important game? After this play, will ya? Here's a pitch back. Number 11 with the carry. We keep telling you, fans, number 11 for Leuzinger. Of course, we know that that's Gerard Armstrong.
Well, to answer your question as to which is the most important game, that I'm not exactly sure. They just said this is the 2nd best game to watch as you take a look at the replay, giving it to someone with a fresh jersey. Ooh, big Hernandez quarterback out there on that block, still leading the way, getting him close to a first down. But yes, this is the 2nd most important game tonight, according to the Daily Breeze.
Leuzinger inside the 35, need to get down near the 30. Pitch to McClendon. McClendon goes left. McClendon looks like he's got enough for the first down. As a matter of fact, I think we can officially give him the first down. Well, chains will move again. Clock running at 2:50 left here in the first half. Leuzinger is going to be at the 30-yard line, so they've got 30 yards of real estate to negotiate in under 3 minutes, and the clock rolling.
And 3 timeouts to play with.
Here's a pitch back. This time it's to Sakona. Sakona comes right, and Sakona they're going to give him 6, maybe 7, and then some. So good run that time by Sakona. My memory serves me correct. Paul is his first name. It's time they go around the left side of the line. They pick up the first down. Clock will stop momentarily as they reset. We're just a couple of ticks under 2 minutes. Leuzinger now doing some pushing of their own. Penninsula got down to the 12-yard line, couldn't convert. Now Leuzinger is down at the 15, looking to put it in. Here's a pitch back to Singleton. Singleton coming right. Singleton gets to the 5-yard line. They're going to spot it right at the 5. We got 1:39 left. Leuzinger still with those timeouts in their hip pocket, Dave.
And we said at the 4-minute mark, the pace for them was good because they're not breaking the big run, but they're breaking off the right amount of chunks and using the clock fairly well. Good time management, which is going to take them down to about the end of the half, and they're hoping to get a score as they're knocking on the door. We're going to measure this one. If they've got the first down, it's going to be right on the 5. If not, it's second and inches from right on the 5 with 1:36 to go till halftime. We're talking about the Daily Breeze and their polls and their prognostications, such as they are. In the preseason, they had Penninsula listed as number 8 in Division III. They had them listed as the number 1 in the Daily Breeze, and Leuzinger listed as number 5. So there's a first down, first and goal.
First and goal for the Olympians from the 5-yard line. Well, they roll it out left, and they take it down inside the 5. They pick up a pair on the play. It's going to make it a first and goal from about the 3-yard line.
Now if I'm Penninsula, I might want to think about using timeouts here because if Leuzinger does score, they're going to want to have some time to try to counter before the end of the half.
They're awfully bunched up. We're going to need to try to watch this from the monitor. There's the pitch back to Singleton. Singleton still a little short of the goal line. Clock continues to run. It's under a minute left.
And it looks like he's just literally a foot away from that goal line with 45 seconds to go. Might see Hernandez keep it here.
So, 3rd and inches. Again on the keeper. There's a touchdown. Looks like that was McCullough on the carry. Can't quite see.
I think it was Kava McCullough. Looked like I saw that big number 8 going across.
I'm going to say it was McCullough. I tell you, they get down that close, they bunch up that tightly, and that ball, that picks in and gets lost in there somewhere. But we're pretty sure it was McCullough with the carry for the touchdown. Here we're going to see it again. There it is. Yeah, there you see the delayed handoff. So, Leuzinger at 31 seconds goes on top. Here they go for the deuce, and think they're going to be stopped short on the play. Well, what's the indication? The indication is no. Finally breaks through, but it was long after the whistle had blown to indicate that his forward momentum had been stopped.
So 31 seconds to go till halftime. And Leuzinger Olympians with the first lead, not able to get the 2 extra points, and we'll see how important that will play out before this contest is over. 31 seconds and 3 timeouts of Penninsula. I guess it'll all depend on what they do with this opening kickoff, or rather with this kickoff, not the opening kickoff, but what they do with the return, how far they take it, as to whether they will gamble or not and try to get something on the board with 31 seconds to go on this night that we thought was going to be a little colder, but has actually turned out to be sort of comfortable here in Lawndale, California. We came prepared with the big overcoats and everything, but it is rather comfortable out here tonight.
Well, it's still very much football weather. We, of course, being a bit spoiled here in SoCal, but it's a nice, pleasant night. No breeze in the air, just slightly cooler temperatures. And there's a kickoff. Leuzinger kicks it, Squibb kicks it on the ground, and Leuzinger is going to get what they want out of this, as they don't get a return, and the ball's going to be down near the 10-yard line. That thing started bouncing at about the 30. Penninsula never was able to get a handle on it, so Leuzinger with the fortuitous bounce of the ball. 27 seconds left here in the first half, and they've got Penninsula pinned deep. in the Panthers' territory.
Joe Ford recovered that one. You see him taking a look at his arm. So they've got 27 seconds on the clock. They'll have it at about the 12-yard line or so. And a long way to go, but they have 3 timeouts.
Now we've got a flag coming in on the play for anything got in the way. Bill, interesting call here. As we look to the referee for the indication, comes this way.
What, too many men on the field maybe, or?
Well, his indication is that it's against the Olympians. It's a 5-yard penalty.
Coach Witt just as puzzled by it as the rest of you are. Probably did have too many men on.
Well, now we've got a stoppage of play by the Olympians as they take a timeout here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Gives us another opportunity to remind you fans that tonight is a night of celebration here at Leuzinger, as it is Homecoming 2001.
All right, guys in the truck, is the crowd mic working? Okay, 2 weeks ago we did a ball game, West Torrance and, I forget, they were playing at Leuzinger. It was late in the game, and Rufus and I had the following discussion. If we can pick it up. All right, let's see if we can go to it. We'll get it. Well, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. Little technical problems.
Back to live action here as it is a 1st and 5 for Peninsula. At the 17, Ford with the carry. Ford's going to be stopped in the backfield for a loss on the play. So nothing doing on that play for Ford. As the clock continues to run, our view somewhat obstructed. Now we've under 10 seconds. That probably was the last play of the game. Peninsula disdaining the use of their timeouts. Well, now with 1 second left, we get a timeout on the field, and it's going to be taken by Peninsula.
All right, I think we've got it now. If with your kind indulgence, I think we should have this. This was 2 weeks ago, a game Rufus and I did at Hawthorne at the very end of the ball game.
Not quite sure.
Well, West has about as much chance to win in this as the Yankees do as getting out of the
Are we picking it up?
I'm going to have to make a comment on that. As everyone knows, I'm a Mets fan, so I'm not the biggest Yankee rooter in the world. However, if there's any team that comes from the two teams in that hole, it is the team like the Yankees. They have been there. They're tried and tested. And right now, the Yankees are not hitting. All the Yankees do is a boycott game. Right now, the Yankees can take out the beads and start rapping. I think they decided to hit the men on base. I think that's what it comes down to. They've been there before.
Well, were you guys able to get that in the truck?
1 second left, our last play of the first half as we go down to the field. They drop back to pass. Lays it up. Here's the old Hail Mary. And it falls incomplete, nearly caught, nearly intercepted. And that ends the first half. But what a half it was for the Olympians as they score with 31 seconds left in the half on a 1-yard run by Cavalli. Failed on the extra point attempt, so we go to halftime with a score. Leuzinger 6, the guests Peninsula Panthers nothing. Halftime festivities are coming your way, fans. We want you to enjoy them as we take a break here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
not hooked up. VTR return. You can't see. Hey, why don't you get them right up here? The homecoming team when they walk up. What's the mic?
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh.
And now
You got it.
For best costume.
This way? That's good. Okay.
For best costume for today's parade. And the best costume goes to David Silva for Gladiator. As you know, if you were here earlier today, all of the acts did a performance. So now we're going to give out the trophy for best performance this morning. And that trophy goes to Elizabeth Overly, the Johnny Prince. Okay, now we're going to get down to the real business at hand. We're going to get down to the real business at hand. At this time, we would like to announce the homecoming prince. The homecoming prince goes to David Silva. Homecoming prince. And now, we are going to announce to you the new 2001 homecoming queen, Penninsula. He is our record from today. Our 2001 Olympian King, Mr. Ronaldo. And now, the award for the homecoming princess. The homecoming princess goes first runner-up. Our first runner-up goes to. The first runner-up goes to Miriam Ayala. First runner-up for homecoming queen. The homecoming princess, Miriam Ayala. Okay. Before I introduce to you this year's 2001-2002 homecoming queen, I would like to introduce last year's homecoming queen, Miss Shelley Smith. Tiffany Ellis. Come on now. You earned it. Tiffany Ellis, homecoming queen, 2001-2002. Congratulations to Tiffany Ellis.
We don't know what she's like in class, you know what I mean?
She's very popular.
You know what that means. Makes her popular with the boy. Yeah.
2001-2002 queen, Tiffany Ellis. Ms. Ellis says thank you to everyone who voted for her. I'm sure she will make a nice, a wonderful Olympian queen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here you have it. Your 2001-2002 homecoming king and queen and their sport. Can we have a nice round of applause for them, please? Congratulations to all of you.
I can't see what anybody else is doing.
Huh?
I can't see what anybody else
You
is doing.
can't. You gonna take my lead away post?
A little bit.
All right, fans, we're just about ready for the second half kickoff. And while we've got a moment, that gives us a chance to go down sideline and get a report from Scott Goodman, if Scott's ready.
Go, Scotty, go.
Here at Olympian Stadium, we are going into the second half with the Leuzinger Olympians leading the Peninsula Panthers 6-0. The game was played out as expected as both teams' ground game controlled the flow of the game. The Olympians were led by Victor McClellan, who had 14 rushes for 84 yards. Expect the same in the second half, and it could come down to which team's offense and defensive line controls the flow at the line of scrimmage. Back up to you, Rufus and Dave.
Good. Well, thank you, Scott, for that very good report. And as Scott duly noted, Victor McClendon did the bulk of the work for the Olympian rushing game. Now, another thing to point out, we did say that this was homecoming 2001, and let's congratulate Felipe Diamaldo as the homecoming king, and Tiffany Alex, who was crowned the homecoming queen for 2001. Crowd giving a resounding boo to the Peninsula Panthers as they come back to take the field, Dave.
Well, I thought they were giving the boos for your baseball prognostications of 2 weeks ago.
Well, I'm no Nostradamus. Now, If I recall correctly, I said that perhaps that maybe there was a chance that the Yankees.
No,
could get
you did not say that. And unfortunately, if we could play this tape, we'll prove it. And we'll get this tape on sometime before the end of the ball game. But you mentioned two teams that basically want to keep it on the ground. And the fact that the Leuzinger Olympians are up 6-0 is a key when you consider the fact that they had three key things go against them in the first half. On their first drive, they had a holding penalty, which they rarely do. And then, of course, they lost the ball on a quarterback sack right at the midfield line, and Peninsula wasn't able to score. They also lost a punt recovery that was fumbled, but they were able to recover it. So 3 key mistakes, but still they come out with the lead 6-0. And Peninsula stayed in that locker room for a long time, not wanting anything to do with the Leuzinger home crowd and homecoming festivities. They will get the ball to start the second half as they go on the offense, and I would kind of look for them to mix it up a little bit. They tried to be somewhat unpredictable in the first half. They are a team that features 3 big backs, and they're going to go to those 3 backs, but I'd look for a little play action and try to see if they can keep the Leuzinger offense off balance.
And as you see Peninsula go through a halftime act, I'm not quite sure what to call it, something, running through the banner or whatever, it doesn't exactly thrill the Leuzinger crowd. One of the things that's interesting about that is that Leuzinger was on the field in position, ready to play. Now in basketball, which I know a little bit better because I coach it, if the team is ready to go, the referee hands them the ball, and if you're out there or not, the ball's put in play. However, they did give Peninsula time to take the field, and so there we have it. Leuzinger kicking off to start here in the second half. That's Hernandez with the kickoff. Kick is taken at the 15-yard line, dropped initially, and that drop allowed the Leuzinger coverage to get down there to down him at about the 20-yard line.
Yeah, there's Jared Mundy again. And, you mentioned that situation in basketball where they can get a technical foul. I have seen in some college games, particularly on homecomings, where you have excessive celebrations and ceremonies, and one team either doesn't get off the field or come on the field on time. I've seen teams penalized on the kickoff. That could have happened here, but the referee is electing not to do it. So,
yeah. But it's nothing to get choked up about, Dave. I mean, you're all choked up over the play. Here, Peninsula keeps it on the ground, but you're okay, and that's what we want to know. That's 45, Leuzinger with the carry.
Yeah, it's quite emotional over the fact that they weren't. So I was emotionally torn apart by the fact that they did not get called for how unfair and how cruel it is. Now, actually, folks, I'm just getting over a little bit of a cold. And we don't have a cough button here, cough switch.
As always, good to have Dave Marks here with us. Of course, you can hear him on your radio dial daily during the week on KJLH 102.3. This time to give it to Ford. Ford doesn't get anything on the play. Ford leading rusher for this team with 260 yards and a tray of touchdowns, but right now Ford's finding it going to be just a little bit tougher than what he's faced so far this year.
We did get off that one big run in the first half where he was juking and showing a lot of hips getting down that right side, but they, of course, are keying him. Leuzinger playing a 6-2 defense with 8 people up in the box. So their key, their aim tonight is to stop the run.
Of course, Peninsula has shown that they can throw. Dejener fakes, rolls back, throws over the middle, puts it up in the air, and that one's incomplete.
The pressure came from the outside that time as he threw a little dying duck of a pass and intended for Eric Straub, the tight end.
Well, he put Straub out where receivers don't like to be, hung him out to dry right over the middle, and Armstrong gave him a little love tap there just to say hello, how are you?
And if he catches that one, he'd be lucky to hold on to. He'd probably wind up getting leveled. So this brings up a 4th down and a punting situation, of course, for the Peninsula Panthers from out of Palos Verdes.
And it's Armstrong back at his own 40. Looking for the kick. It's a low snap, but they get it away. Nice high kick. Armstrong has to retreat back to the 30, makes the catch, has a couple of guys to get by, and can't do it. There are 3 guys here. Now we got a flag coming in.
Good coverage by Peninsula that time. The 3 Peninsula Panthers getting down there. And the flag came in after the tackle was made, so it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to call here.
Well, here's our referee coming out now. Looks like he's getting ready to give the clip sign. And that's what it is. It's going to be a clipping against the Olympians.
Well, who was back there to clip? He was the only one. He was tackled by 3 return men, unless the clip happened upfield somewhat. But nevertheless, on the first drive of the second half for the Olympians, they're going to be backed up somewhat.
Big penalty, big 15-yard penalty. They mark it off from the 35. They take it back inside the 20, just inside the 20. So let's say they marked it from the 34 to the 20, to the 19 rather. At any rate, it's a 1st and 10 from the 19. Here's the pitch back. Going over the right side, that's Sakona. Sakona picks up about 5. We're in second half action, fans. Just started third quarter if you're joining us. Leuzinger leads by a score of 6-0.
And he, of course, one of the 3 backs, Paul Sakona, Steve Singleton, and Victor McClendon, all seniors, coming out here on second down. Eddie Hernandez starting the second half. He's a senior at quarterback.
This time they send in motion Singleton. They give it to him. Singleton is going to be about a yard short of the first.
And of course, on that line for Leuzinger, Miguel Peralta, the center, he's a senior. On the left side, Joseph Guerin, left guard, the junior, Finise Lololea. He's the left tackle. On the right side, Hiva Akofa, senior right tackle. Right guard, Tony Morgan, sophomore. Tight end, Maha Ikahifu, and Daniel Navas, also right tight end.
Again, in motion. This time, number 4, McClendon. McClendon picks up the first down.
So he needed just about half a yard, got about 3 there. As this drive will continue, approaching the 9-minute mark to go in the third quarter, and what's been a rather pleasant evening weather-wise here in Lawndale, as we mentioned. Expecting it to be a little colder, but it is okay here tonight so far.
So, 1st and 10 for the Olympians from the 34. Here's the pitch to McClendon. McClendon coming this way. Has a blocker out front, and it's going to be taken down just short of the 40.
Time pursuit coming down the line as Penninsula, similar to Leuzinger, is going to play 8 or 9 men up in the box, denying the run, figuring Leuzinger will not pass. And they just string it out. Just holding him up. And maybe 2.5 yards.
Second down play now. There's a pitch back to Singleton, and Singleton carries for the first down. We know that you fans enjoy watching these broadcasts on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, and in just a second we'll get you the broadcast schedule for tonight's contest.
Because you could be watching in Gardena, you could be watching in anywhere in Torrance, could be watching in Redondo or Hawthorne. So how will you know when it's going to come on? Check your channel for your local access. The channel will have all the listings of all the programs and the program times and when they will be airing. And one of these days, when we start doing these things live, that's going to be a moot point.
So it's a 2nd down and 8 for the Olympians. Fans ball at the Olympian 48-yard line. Pitch back to McClendon. He goes to the air. McClendon's going to pick up. Well, they're going to spot him for only a 2-yard gain because they're going to spot it right at the midfield stripe. So that's going to make it 2nd and a long 5. Leads about 5.5 for the first.
Well, you know, things have kind of changed for the Penninsula Panthers out there at Palos Verdes. A little bit, not that you want to say they're down, but a little bit on the downside. I mean, they don't come in here this year with the usual swagger and confidence that they've had in other years. It's definitely a transition year for them.
Yeah, no surprise here. A running play. Leuzinger picks up 2 on the play.
Of course, the Peninsula crowd on the far side of the field hasn't had much to really cheer about tonight. Usually, of all the games that I've seen done here as far as visitors, they'll bring more of a visiting crowd than just about any school that comes here. Even when Hawthorne comes in here, they'll bring more visitors than Hawthorne.
Well, Peninsula, as you mentioned, they're coaching in the 2nd year. Program being retooled. We won't say it's rebuilding, but we will say they're retooling because, as you mentioned earlier, it's been a long time since we've seen a Peninsula program with 3 losses. There you had a broken plate, especially this early in the season.
Yeah, they've lost to some teams that would shock most people this season, especially earlier in the year. I believe they lost to Culver. They're 3-3 overall and 2-2 in league play. In the league, they beat Beverly Hills and Hawthorne. Beverly Hills, they beat them away. Hawthorne, they beat them at home. But they lost to West Torrance, was shut out 23-0. And that, I believe, was the week of, I think the game September 11th was canceled. I think that was the week after that they lost to West Torrance. And Culver City, they lost to Culver City on the road. And out of league, they beat Santa Monica at home. They lost to Bishop Amat at North Torrance at a neutral site, and their game in Long Beach, Jordan was canceled the week of the disaster in New York and Washington. So they've been kind of humbled this year, but it's really been a boom year for Mira Costa. Mira Costa tonight will be at West Torrance. Mira Costa is 7-0 overall, 4-0 in league, and they pretty much can just wrap up first place if they do win tonight. Also Beverly Hills at Culver City. And Hawthorne is hosting Redondo tonight up on El Segundo.
So there's the action. Here's the pitch back. And McClendon nearly breaks it. Tripped up somewhere going through the line, picked up the first down, got down to the 40-yard line. They're going to spot it at. And it's going to be a 1st and 10. Here we see the play on replay. There's McClendon as he goes through the line, gets tripped right there. You can see his frustration because he saw nothing but real estate in front of him. There's a pitch back to Singleton. Singleton goes around the right, following a lead block. In fact, that was Hernandez with the lead block for Singleton as he came through the line, and they're going to give him an 8-yard gain on that play. He's going to make it a 2nd down and 2.
Listen, Eddie Hernandez not afraid to give up the body. He's been out there leading a couple of tackles tonight. Hernandez, of course, a relatively tall quarterback. He's played free safety on defense.
There you see a shot of him there. Number 7 in the program. And with the first down for the Olympians, that's Armstrong. Armstrong doing a little bit of everything tonight. Armstrong working in the backfield, also returning punts and kickoffs, getting his number called quite a bit tonight.
And the Peninsula coaching staff's not going to like that one because somebody had a hand on him in the backfield, and they're going to look at that when they look at the game films and say, oh, they're a missed tackle. If Peninsula goes on to score on this drive, that's going to be one thing they'll key on. Say you got your arms around him, got to bring him down, but not able to do so.
Well, Leuzinger inside the Peninsula 30, down at about the 26. There's another pitch back. I believe that was McClendon on the carry, and he hits the hole. Short gain on the play for him. Leuzinger still in good field position.
And this long drive taking off a lot of time. Talk about play in league tonight. So many teams at 2-2. Redondo, Hawthorne, Beverly Hills, and of course the Leuzinger Olympians and Peninsula. So a lot of teams at 2-2. Something's got to give tonight.
And on the carry, number 1 for the Olympians goes in for the touchdown. First time we call this number, that was Brandon Ford for the Olympians. No flag on the play.
And that's the first time he's given the ball tonight.
Let's watch the replay, see if we can help the fans there. Again, it was one of those situations, fans, and it would happen to the best of us. Again, they're so bunched up in there. When they do the handoff, sometimes you don't know where the ball is. But that time, Brandon Ford had it. Brandon Ford rushes for the touchdown, puts Leuzinger up. 12, now number 10 with the carry. And the 2-point conversion is good. So, Sakona picks up the 2 points, makes it Leuzinger 14, Peninsula nothing.
Well, an impressive drive, all on the ground, not to anybody's surprise, but the one who wound up getting the touchdown, that, of course, the surprise. Person whose number was not called tonight, Brandon Ford. Brandon Ford starting on the defensive end spot defensively. And he gets his first carry and does well, leading to the points. And it makes it a little harder for Peninsula here. They're going to have quite a ways to go. They have yet to crack the scoreboard. They haven't had the ball too much this second half.
So, our score, 14-0 in favor of the Olympians. As Dave so aptly noted, Peninsula now, they're back against the wall just a bit. Still a lot of time left in this game, though. That kick's going to go out of bounds. That's going to give them good field position.
Something Eddie Hernandez did not intend to do. So they will, Peninsula will put it in play right at about the 35-yard line. Decent field position after the kick goes out of bounds here at Olympian Field. 1st and 10. Always interesting when you do a ball game here. We outside, top of the stands, but this Leuzinger High School, a lot of new paint, a lot of reconstruction this year. New parking lot, how about that?
Out of the wishbone, they fake it. There's a pass in the flat, and Degener's receivers have not been kind to him. Once again, he hit the receiver in the hands. That receiver was Grant Pejarijan. Sure, I butchered that pretty good.
You noticed I elected not to say anything.
I do believe it's actually Pagarigan, and Pagarigan dropped it, for lack of a better word.
And of course, he was well covered that time.
Makes it a 2nd down and 10. This time they keep it on the ground, and on the carry, they get about 8 on it, maybe 8.5.
And it looks like Leuzinger on the carry there.
Leuzinger's a big, big kid, I tell you. When we talk about fullbacks, he's about as big as they come. Yeah, he's a 5'11", 242-pound senior. So he's got the bulk. He could play some fullback at the next level. I don't know what his prospects are, Dave, but he certainly has a potential. On the option, they pick up the 1st down.
Kyle Deniger with a little nifty move, keeps the drive going for the Peninsula Panthers at the 2:47 mark of the 3rd quarter.
Clock continues to roll. Peninsula looking to get back in it. This being a key drive. I'm not sure they want to give this drive away without putting points on the board, because Leuzinger, first of all, the nature of their offense eats up the clock. And then with them having a lead, you can rest assured they're going to sit on it even more. And once again, very short game for Peninsula. They move it out near midfield. They're going to place it at the 49-yard line, at their own 49. That'll make it a 2nd down and 8.
Looked like Nate Didera who carried that time, so his first carry of the night. And as Rufus mentioned, 2nd and 8, under 2 minutes to go now in quarter number 3 from Lawndale, California.
And although he hasn't had a lot of success with it thus far, the passing game at least still is a weapon. This time, inside handoff, nets a yard on the play.
So Leuzinger breaking a tackle, but not getting very far. Brings up about a 3rd and 5. I think she's going to give him a little more positive forward progress. About 3rd and 5 to go. Take a look at the Leuzinger sideline.
So here's Peninsula's 3rd and 5 play. This time they come with 2 backs. It fake drops back to pass, and that's incomplete. You know, Desner throws a pretty decent football. I'm going to ascribe most of their problems in the passing game, at least wise from what we've seen tonight, to the receivers. The receivers don't seem to be running real precise routes.
Well, Eric Straub was the intended receiver that time, and yeah, and again, it's about the 3rd time they've thrown to him tonight, and just doesn't look like he's on the same page with his quarterback. Not really something he could. In one of the passes, of course, he was harassed, but not that time.
Leuzinger sets up to receive the punt and get the punt away. That's Armstrong is back. He lets it bounce. It goes into the end zone harmlessly. That'll bring it out to the 20-yard line where, with 55 seconds left in the 3rd, 12:55 total left in the contest, fans. Leuzinger leads by a score of 14-0 here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
And a smart move there by Gerard Armstrong. In the first half, he fumbled one of those returns but was able to recover. And so, therefore, this time just lets it bounce, and he did get the fortunate bounce as it goes into the end zone.
So, 1st and 10 for the Olympians from their own 20. Here's McClendon in motion. They give it to McClendon. And McClendon still on his feet. Breaks a couple tackles. McClendon still on his feet. Not brought down until he gets out across the 45-yard line. Victor McClendon breaking tackles, Dave.
And he just did not want to go down. He a player that almost was not going to play tonight, but for the Leuzinger Olympian fans, they're glad to have running like that. Just slithers a couple of people right here. Simply would not go down. Speed it up, speed it up. Tripped right there. And resiliency, able to take it down the sideline for more yards.
Back to live action. There you see McClendon with the carry again. McClendon picks up about 8 on that carry. Takes it down to the 46-yard line.
That's probably going to be the last play of the 3rd quarter.
And indeed it is. So, with 3 quarters in the books, Dave, Leuzinger leads by a score of 14-0. Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, Hawthorne Community Cable, and the good folks at Time Warner, all joining together to bring you these broadcasts. Please check your local listing, your local government access channel listing for when this game will be broadcast in your community.
And it'll be on some points over the weekend. We tape these games, of course, on a Friday night. And they can come on anytime, I've heard. You can just turn your TV on and hear Rufus and Dave talking, and hear Rufus saying that West Torrance has about as much chance to win this game as the Yankees do of getting out of the American League Division Series a couple of weeks ago. And Dave Marks saying, well, you know, we got to talk about that one there, because I'm not a Yankee fan, but if there's any team that can come from a 2-0 hole, it is a team like the Yankees. But Rufus did not believe that a couple of weeks ago, and so therefore we had the replay here tonight. The audio, I don't know how audible it was, but Rufus takes the egg on the face tonight as the Yankees are in the World Series.
Well, as the song goes, no, now I'm a believer.
Now you're
not much of a singer, but for those of you who are old enough, you kind of know the song.
Oh, yes, now he's a believer.
And 2nd and short for the Olympians. They changed directions. Now they're going toward the mountains. And with the carry, that, of course, is Singleton, if I'm not mistaken. And it is. Singleton picks up the 1st down last week. Singleton had a 100-yard game for the Olympians. Any of these guys have called upon, and this is what we've seen in the Leuzinger attack for the last couple of seasons. any of these guys are capable of a 100-yard game.
It's just amazing for people that watch Leuzinger football. You say, when are you ever going to throw the ball? When are you going to pass? You know, basically when they do this, they don't have to.
This time they keep the 3 backs. They send McClendon in motion. He goes left, and he gets a short gain on the play.
This program was basically turned around 3 years ago by Don Markham when he came in here in 1999. He was the one that brought in the tight wing tee and got them all the way to the semifinals in Division II, where they lost to Diamond Bar, the disappointing game that we did a couple of years ago. And of course, Coach Witt was his assistant, and now in his second year as a head coach, and has picked up on the Markham philosophy of run it down their throats. If that's your strength, you've got to go with it. But of course, you've got to be able to play some solid defense to keep your team in the game in order to do that.
Second down, Olympians with the ball on the ground, and still on his feet, finally brought down. Now they're really going into their bag of tricks as they've thrown forward at him a couple of times now. Forward being the sneak attack, and a couple of times Ford's made with some big plays for him.
You know, it just amazes you. The opposition, you know what's coming, but you can't stop it. I mean, they're not doing any play action. They're not trying to fool anybody. They are just handing it off. I mean, they've got a couple of inside handoffs and things going on in there, but it's basically straight ahead, power blocking, double tight end football.
Again, this time Singleton with the carry. So we're in fourth quarter action now. We're at the 10-minute mark. Leuzinger now content. First of all, they're in scoring position. Secondly, they're content to chew up the clock.
And another score for Leuzinger is going to be just about lights out for Peninsula. They are in bad shape now at the 9:50 mark, trailing by 2 scores, 14-0. And another one here will just about salt it away. Of course, 4 teams will make the playoffs in the Bay League, so their season not over as far as that's concerned, but want to get as high a seed as possible.
Here again, hand out to McClendon. McClendon from our angle. As they're moving away from us, they're going to the left side. He looks awfully close to the first down. Indication is that not close enough.
And what the playoff implications mean, of course, Miracosta pretty much going to wrap up the Bay League regular season title, is you want to try to get a home game in round 1. I mean, even if you finish in first place, you're not always guaranteed of getting it. That can be very political, but getting that first round game at home is what most coaches want.
Third and short. High pitch. Ball's loose. Looks like Peninsula is saying they have it, and the officiating crew agrees with them.
Well, that could be the break they're looking for. Justin Santa Rosa recovering the fumble. It was a bad pitch, just up into the air and off of the hands of Sakona. And Santa Rosa, the lineman, defensive lineman, comes up with it. He's a senior. So at the 8:46 mark of the fourth quarter, if the Peninsula Panthers are going to pull this game out, they have an opportunity, and they're going to have to get something going right about now.
Yeah, well, they were certainly looking for a break. There's no doubt about that, and that one came at a most opportune time for them.
That's the second turnover tonight for the Leuzinger Olympians. Turnover in the first half did not hurt them. Let's see what will happen here.
Now, they drop back the pass, they lay it up, and their pass a little underthrown. That pass intended for number 30, Eric Straub, as you said. Straub, the 192-pound senior tight end.
An excellent coverage by Charles Lewis, the cornerback, the senior. Lewis doing the job that time. He looks like they're gonna put him at safe. Looks like he's at safety. Gerard Armstrong was the starting safety, but it looks like he's either at the safety or the corner.
2nd and 10 now for Peninsula. This time they keep it on the ground. That's Ford with the carry. And forward hit hard by Charles Lewis, number 5.
Well, you've got to really give some positive comments tonight for this Leuzinger Olympian defense. I mean, they are aggressive, and they are doing a number tonight on this Peninsula Panthers team. And at this point, not only do they want the win with about 8 minutes and 10 seconds to go, but they would love nothing better than to pitch a shutout. They're playing with emotion and heat, and they're playing as a team.
And now you've got Peninsula being forced into a timeout at exactly the 8-minute mark, with them trailing by 14, needing a pair of scores inside of 8 minutes. They've got a tall hill to climb from their own. Looks like they're spotted at about the 14-yard line.
Well, do we have Deborah ready for something? All right, let's go to Deborah.
Leuzinger's leading rusher Victor McClendon missed last week's game with a sprained right knee, but was able to come back this week. I spoke to him earlier, and he said he will play the rest of the game. He has, in the first half, he had 14 carries for 84 yards, and he has had big-time plays to lead Leuzinger for another touchdown. Now back to you, Rufus and Dave.
All right,
Thank
now,
you, D.A.
Who in the truck told us that was Deborah? All right, somebody's getting fired tonight.
Well, that was Guillet, and an excellent sideline report with the indication that
no, I could hear everything.
Will play throughout the rest of the game tonight. Peninsula throws over the middle, another incompletion. We said the middle, that actually is out to the right. Pretty decent throw, a little bit high.
That time going for a different target, Jared Monday, and offline. So they get another attempt.
In a bit of desperation there, Dave, Peninsula went against their own book. They came out, they threw 3 times, 3 incompletions, and now they've got to punt it away. High kick, short, takes a Leuzinger bounce, now bounces back the other way, and it will be down at about the 40-yard line. So from the Peninsula 40, Leuzinger gets the ball at the 7:44 mark once again.
Well, for the second time tonight, a turnover does not hurt them, as the defense has come to play. When you talk to Coach Witt, he's very proud of the way this defense has been performing. And for a team that runs as much as they do, that's what you need. And they don't appear to have any egos on this team. They play together. They're not very easily distracted. They're a very focused bunch this season.
1st and 10. Here's a pitch back to McClendon. McClendon goes around the left side. Only brought down, but not until after. It picks up 6 or 7 yards of real estate, maybe even a little more. In fact, it is a little more. They're going to give him a full 8, 8.5. So McClendon having a very good game tonight. They had 84 at the half, as reported by Scott, and he's had a good second half so far. So he's clearly over the 100-yard mark.
And this Leuzinger Olympian team, they look very workmanlike, not overly emotional.
This time the handoff again is to Armstrong. And there is a touchdown. I said Armstrong. I should have said instead that was number 1, Ford. Brandon Ford with the touchdown run.
And he just gave it to him, and the big holes opened up. Miguel Peralta there at center firing out.
And again, that's some of the faking. This Peninsula defense, quite frankly, Dave, really has been off balance all night, and very much as we've had a couple of times there, we see the 2-point attempt, and it's good.
The 6:57 mark, that may just about have put it away. 22-0 in favor of the Leuzinger Olympians here on Lawndale Community Cable. And for those of you who watch these broadcasts, well, next week, this is going to be a very, very special broadcast next week. We will be at Hawthorne next week, and it will be the Mayor's Cup. Leuzinger will be at Hawthorne. Leuzinger on the road, Hawthorne at home. Last year, the Mayor's Cup was won by the Leuzinger Olympians here at Leuzinger. So Mayor Larry Guidi of Hawthorne would like to get that cup back. And they will have their chance. The Hawthorne Cougars playing a different brand of football than Leuzinger. Hawthorne a little more emotional per se, not as workmanlike, and a different brand of offense. They have, of course, a feature quarterback and a feature runner. And it's going to be interesting, contrasting styles next week, and that'll be our next ball game, the battle for the South Bay.
And short kickoff taken at about the 31-yard line. No return on the play. So from the 31, it's going to be 1st and 10 for Peninsula.
It's even Papadakis on that carry, going nowhere. And of course, speaking of Hawthorne, they're taking on Redondo tonight. Hawthorne in the middle of the playoff bunch at 2-2 and needing to beat Redondo to kind of keep pace. Redondo also 2-2, so that's a big ball game for both of those teams.
Ford with the carry. Ford with some running room going around the right side. Ford still running. Ford finally pushed out of bounds. But not until after he makes a huge gain and picks up a 1st down on the play. Of course, a lot of this is going to end up, Dave, being too little, too late for the Panthers.
But of course, from Leuzinger's perspective, what they want at this point, they want to pitch the shutout. There would be nothing would make them happier than to keep this team off the scoreboard. Of course, it's not the Peninsula team of other years, but when you could shut out a team from Peninsula, that's doing something.
Ford again with the carry. Ford here in Garveystown with a strong stiff arm, comes around the left side.
Well, a little misdirection handoff that time, and Ford running to the right place and giving that little stiff arm to get the extra yardage. So although the Panthers are not going to probably, now we say probably because anything can happen, 6:35 to go, they're probably not going to win the ball game tonight. They at least are not going down without a fight.
Thus far, that's the case. So 1st and 10, once again, Ford with the carry. Man, they've called this number a whole lot. Ford picks up another 1st down.
And if you're a Peninsula fan, you're saying, where was this running for 3 quarters?
They're also saying, where was it on the last drive when they were only down 14-0?
Exactly.
And an opportunity to get back in the game.
And if they score there, you got a totally different ball game. As it is, they have taken off very little time since the last Leuzinger touchdown, and they're knocking on the door, their deepest penetration of the night.
Now, I know that, Coach, before I say this and anybody writes in or calls in, Ford with the carry, this time short gain, I know, and I want to say, I know absolutely this isn't what Coach Wood is doing, but it just has the appearance that Leuzinger would just as soon they score so they can get the ball back and run the game out. Because they've given up a lot of big yardage here on this last possession to Peninsula. Yardage that throughout the course of the game, they haven't given them anything of the sort.
I think it's just a matter of determination on the part of Peninsula. They just look fired up right now. They're determined to do something. If they do score, they're going for the onside kick.
Desjardins drops back the pass, throws it over the middle. It's incomplete.
And it looks like it was Straub again, the intended receiver, after a little play action fake. So bring up a 2nd down and 10 to go,
All right.
ball on about the 14-yard line.
Copy, 5:45 left here in the contest. Leuzinger up by a score of 22-0. Last year, they beat this team 22-3. Of course, we know that Peninsula at this stage, being at the 12-yard line, keeping it on the ground, that's looks like Ford again they clearly going to use all 4 downs to try to pick up a first down. I don't think you'll see them kicking a field goal here. So, and if Leuzinger wants to shut out, they're going to have to hold them out on downs, Dave.
And if you're wondering if Leuzinger has had a shutout this year, no, they haven't pitched a shutout. They were shut out against Tustin in a non-league game on the road. But they have not pitched a shutout against an opponent yet. And they've got about 5 minutes and 10 seconds to attempt to do it.
And this is a 4th down play coming up. It's going to be a 4th and about 5. It lays it up in the air, and it's incomplete.
Well, incomplete pass, as you see the
okay, so
QB
on
roll
the
out.
Incomplete pass, it's going to go over on downs to the Olympians. I'm not sure we're going to have a break in the action, fans. We may have to take a technical break for you here because Leuzinger is going to take possession. At this end of the field, they aren't likely to call a timeout. Okay. All right, so it's Leuzinger's ball. 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line. Pitch back to McClendon, I believe, as he goes around the left. Powell gets pushed a little bit. Forward momentum had been stopped after a short gain on the play. 4:35 and clock running here in the contest. Leuzinger content clearly at this point to sit on the ball. They'd certainly like to pick up a first down or two to just about ensure the victory.
And of course, you don't want to get anybody hurt at this point of the game. So take a look at Lewis and Lumi Murray, 2 defenders.
Once again, they keep it inside. Well, they're giving Brandon forward. They say, you got a forward, we'll show you our model of the forward.
At the 3:50 mark, a couple of the boosters here tonight as they pound that drum. Sound like war drums at this point. 3rd and about 2 to go.
See the Leuzinger cheerleaders there. Everything's always so much more fun when you're winning. Speaking of winning, another chance to tell you that and to congratulate Felipe Diamaldo as the 2001-2002 Sports Royalty King, and Tiffany Alex, who was crowned tonight as the Sports Royalty Queen. Our congratulations to both of those students here at Olympian High School. It's an honor that they'll be able to cherish forever and a day. One day they'll be 60 years old telling their friends, remember when. Victor McClendon around the left side. Some of these Leuzinger football players are going to be talking about the night when they seemingly or got to within 2.5 minutes, or I should say under 3 minutes of shutting out Penninsula. And we're going to see if they can make that shutout hold up for another 3 minutes.
Well, barring a turnover, they may get it. Of course, both teams have 2 timeouts, but they're not really a factor at this point. Big reserves there on the sideline.
Predictably, yet another running play, and it's going to be a first down as the Leuzinger running back, Armstrong, refused to be brought down. And that will just about seal the doom that wasn't already sealed of the Penninsula Panthers. That gives Leuzinger the first down they needed. 2 minutes left in the contest. There's a pitch back to Sakona, and he's going to be stopped. A very short gain on the play. Makes it a second down, about 8. 1:35 left in the contest.
And Peninsula has 2 timeouts, but they're electing not to use them, so barring a turnover, looks like the Leuzinger Olympians may in fact pitch that shutout with 1:20 to go.
Okay, yet again, the Olympians keep it on the ground. They get out near the first down. They may have it. Looks like, or this may be close enough for a measurement. Got a stoppage of play by the officials momentarily. Now we got an officials timeout. That should give us time enough to take care of our business.
Official timeout for measurement with 1 minute.
All right, we'll join you in just a second on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 for a station break. And we're back, fans, to live action. First down for the Olympians on the play. Clock running at 56 seconds left in the contest. Leuzinger, unless something very strange happens at this point, Dave, is going to get out of here with a shutout win over Penninsula.
And they are going to go over 500 on the season, 4-3-1 overall. They'll go to 3-2-0 in league play. And they'll be right there in the hunt. And the Peninsula Panthers in a strange position, under 500, 3-4 overall, and under 500 in league play, 2-3. But they, of course, will still have a chance to battle for a possible. Man, I've seen everything. You know, when we do these games at Leuzinger, we got a guy up here on a scooter at the top deck. We were invaded by pizza heads earlier. Now we got a guy on a scooter as the clock winds down.
And there you see the clock indicating that we have concluded this contest. But as you can see, our final, Leuzinger pitches the shutout tonight over Peninsula program. This was a game that, well, it didn't quite live up to expectations. Leuzinger dominated thoroughly throughout the contest. They got scores over the last 3 periods. Both teams played to a scoreless first quarter. And then the rest of the way, Leuzinger scored in each of the next 3 quarters, a touchdown in each, to come out of here with a 22-0 win. Your thoughts?
I think what was surprising is, for folks who expected to see the Peninsula of old, you didn't see it until really their last offensive possession when they almost scored. But at that point, they were down 22-0. Peninsula not playing with the confidence that you're used to seeing them play with for a couple of years. They're kind of going through transition. They, as we mentioned, not rebuilding but retooling. And for the Leuzinger Olympians, a very workman-like performance, not overly emotional. They knew what they had to do. They came in to get the job done. And, of course, when you could shut out a team like Peninsula, although they aren't what they were a couple of years ago, still 3 big offensive weapons that they use in there. You could shut a team like that out. Well, you deserve a lot of credit, and that's what they're getting here tonight by this 22-0 win on their homecoming.
And a good homecoming it was. Every team, every school at every level wants to win on homecoming night, and that they did. So we're trying to get a post-game interview by one of our sideline reporters. If we're ready for that, I'm not quite sure from where I see it we are, but that gives me a moment to tell you, fans, I think it's important for you to know, we know that you enjoy these broadcasts, as you've told us so many times. Let's talk about the folks behind the scenes that make all of this possible. Starting with Alejandro Espasande, Luther Mitchell Jr., Alex Torres, Steve Garcia, Deborah Savage sideline reporting, Jim Shelton, Mario Terrazas, along with Gutman, Brian Gutman, and of course Guillet.
And of course, where's General Tom Strickfaden?
Scott Gutman and Guillet. And of course, all of this in cooperation with the good folks at Time Warner Community Cable, Hawthorne Time Warner Communications, I should say, Hawthorne Community Cable, and certainly Lawndale's Cable Channel 22. Of course, the executive producer for our broadcast, Tom Strickfaden. We're waiting for the Leuzinger team to disassemble. There's Coach Witt over having a couple of words with them. But as you said, Dave, the playoff picture starting to come into focus just a little bit. Leuzinger setting themselves up well for a playoff run with this win tonight.
And I tell you, we don't know what Hawthorne has done tonight at home against Redondo. I believe, yeah, they are at home tonight against Redondo in a big ball game. But if both of those teams come in at 3-2 in a battle for the Bay League, for the Mayor's Cup, that could be the ball game of the year here on Channel 22. That's where we're going to be next week. But no matter what, even if their records are one game off, they're still going to battle each other very tough. And I have a feeling that it's going to be a very special game next week when Leuzinger and Hawthorne do get together up at Hawthorne and El Segundo.
Oh, it's always special. We know that Halcap Field will be packed, that's for sure, on both sides. And it'll be a very emotional game, as it always is. Very good game. It'll be a very entertaining game, and we know that you fans will join us. We just about got the interview will be set up in just a moment. As the coaching staff still working their way toward Guillet and Scott.
They got to go out there and grab them. You know, I mean, you guys watch ESPN. You see how they do it. You know, Robin Roberts and folks, they go out there and they just got to tackle the coach. Come on, go get him, Guillet.
Well, that's what Guillet is doing right now. Guillet.
Can't wait for the coach to come to you. Go get him. I mean, he's not surrounded by a California State trooper. Just pull him over there, you know, just say, come on, it's interview time, TV time, take that cap
Coach
off.
Witt has cooperated famously with us over the years. There's no doubt if asked, he'll certainly cooperate. Of course, Guillet turned her back and let him get away from us. Now she's wondering, so we're waiting just a second for him to come on over. Got a couple of well-wishers that he wants to say hi to. Another thing we can talk about in addition to this is we know we're moving nearer and nearer to basketball season, so we've got some more football left. In fact, we've got 2 consecutive games after this one. Next week, as you said, then the week following, we've got the Beverly Hills game on the schedule, I believe, on November 9th. We're just about ready. Guys, we're going to throw it down as soon as he gets there. He's over with Guillet now. Are you ready to go down? So, Guillet is with Coach Mike Witt. Let's go down to the sideline for Guillet and Coach Mike Witt. Some post-game comments.
Thank you very much.
I'm here with Coach Witt. Coach, first of all, congratulations on tonight's victory. Was it your game plan to control the clock the way you did?
Well, we use our running game every week, you know, and it worked real well tonight. The offensive line did a fantastic job. You know, we held the ball most of the second half, and that's what we need to do to be successful. We stepped up and had some quality performances tonight.
It took a little while for your offense to get going. The first 3 possessions, you guys weren't able to capitalize. What did you tell them at halftime?
Well, Peninsula's a good team. They're going to battle, you know. We knew that we were in for that kind of ball game when we started. So, you know, we just kept doing what we do, and finally we got some things going, and we had a successful ball game.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Oh,
I'll see you next week. Good luck.
Okay, you got it. Thank you.
Now back to Rufus and Dave.
It's the Channel 22 production crew doing what nobody else does. We're getting the word directly from the man himself. He asked the tough questions, he answered them. They wanted to control the game. He respected the opponent, Peninsula, but they were able to execute their will. Dave, it's just about time for us to get out of here. Any final comments?
Well, I think, again, a workmanlike performance tonight here by the Leuzinger Olympians, something that they set out to do. And it's going to be a very interesting week next week. Of course, they play the big rivalry game at Hawthorne, and you've got 2 contrasting schools. You see Leuzinger very workmanlike. You've got Hawthorne, of course, Courtney Barton, who's the main key up there. Contrasting styles, contrasting emotions, but it's going to be for that Mayor's Cup. They want to bring that cup back. Actually, they've got it here at Leuzinger. They want to bring it to Hawthorne. So that's going to be something. There's going to be some fireworks up there in that field next week at Halcap.
And the best news we can give you fans is that Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, Hawthorne Community Cable, and the good folks at Time Warner, we'll all be there, and we know that you'll join us as we bring you that game next Friday night, 7 p.m. from Halcap Field for the entire crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. For Dave Marks, I'm Rufus Washington saying, as always, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to being with you next week. Have a good night.